password.
I'll send it to you. Yeah.
We want to welcome you to our Leavenworth City Commission meeting. We ask that you turn off or silence all cell phones. Meetings are televised every day on Channel 2 at 6 p.m. and at midnight, also available for viewing on YouTube. At this time, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by silent meditation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. First item on the agenda, old business, consideration of previous meeting minutes. Do I have any questions or comments regarding the minutes? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we accept the minutes of the last regular meeting.
Second.
Motion has been seconded. Begin voting with Commissioner Martin.
Aye.
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 Motion carried, 4-0. Next item on the agenda, public comments. Anyone from the public wish to speak, we ask that you keep your comments limited to 3 minutes. No action will be taken by the City Commission. Ms. Sarah, is there anyone signed up?
No.
Thank you very much. Moving on to our next item on the agenda, general items. Consider updates to city fee schedule.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor and Commission, a couple of months ago, we talked about the grease trap program. The city of Leavenworth has probably for the last 3 or 4 years, prior to the pandemic, we really started working on a grease trap program where we could have inspection requirements. And so we did put that in place, and as part of the grease trap program, we added that to the city fee schedule. So you'll see the amounts there of $25. Grease traps are an integral part of maintaining our sanitary sewer system, and so this helps us ensure that those grease traps for those businesses that create those grease, mainly restaurants, are being inspected properly and in compliance with city regulations. So we felt that this was reasonable. And we've done this communication with the businesses so that they're aware this is coming. Again, we started this, I think, in 2019, and so everybody's been aware that this is coming. So it's before you tonight for your consideration.
All right, thank you, Paul. Are there any questions or comments?
Not this time.
If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the amendments to this fee schedule as presented to be effective March 15, 2023.
Second.
A motion has been seconded. Begin voting with Commissioner Hingela.
Aye.
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 Motion carried, 4-0. Next item on the agenda, Resolution B 2329, approving a loan from Kansas Public Water Supply Loan Fund for Leavenworth Waterworks.
Mr. Mayor and Commission, I'm going to ask Joel Mencken, the General Manager of the Leavenworth Water Department, to come up. May want to make a few things clear. This really doesn't have anything to do with the city. The reason we get involved is because the Leavenworth Water Department is not allowed to own property, and they're not allowed to do certain things, so they do them under the auspices of the city of Leavenworth. But all the financial transactions here are between the Leavenworth Water Department and the state. So I'm going to turn it over to Joel to go through this item and tell you why we're here tonight.
Paul very much covered. Was here a year ago and asked for your concurrence on taking out the loan, building it down. Inflation for the last few years has simply torn us up. One night, KDHE has agreed to do an amendment to our loan agreement to increase that amount to a total of $7 million. Still certainly within something we can handle as far as debt servicing, and we'd like to ask your concurrence to pass in this resolution so we can proceed.
Yep, thank you, sir.
So basically, this resolution is showing our support for the water department having this loan.
There's a requirement that we concur with it. And again, this is a loan they're taking out with the state. The state has low interest revolving loan funds.
Oh, good.
KDHE has a drinking water loan program, just like we did for the wastewater side. It's extremely low. The loan interest on this is 1.34%.
Yeah.
You can beat that in the bank,
It's
you'll
low.
find it.
Okay.
But yes, it's something that KDHE, because the bond council 20 years ago, looked at it when we took out the very first loan and said, okay, you need to get concurrence from the city. I don't really know why, because like I say, it has no effect on any of the city's taxing capabilities. It's all
Right.
simply revenue funded by the Waterworks.
Okay,
I understand that it's because we own, the city owns the actual infrastructure, the pipes and such that the water flows through,
Technically, yes.
and that's it.
okay.
All right, there's no other comments, I'll entertain a motion.
Real quick question, I'm sorry, what was the main reason to, I mean, just details on the increase? I mean, I know we're in a highly inflationary environment, but what's the big change from the 5.8 to 7 million exactly?
This one up.
It was essentially inflation caused by 2 years. We started this over 2 years ago, and we've been sitting and waiting on the easement for the property to put it on from the U.S. Department of Justice. 9% inflation last year, 6% inflation this year, and I think the engineers were a little bit lean on some of the pricing to begin with, as did the design work. But anyway, we're pretty confident in 7 million. If it goes above this, beyond this, we will be paying for it out of our own pockets.
No, I got you.
We do have some money in the bank.
Okay, I was just curious because it was May of 2022, and I was just like, well, it was, decent amount increase there, but,
It actually started in May of 21. Took a year to get to that point.
okay, thank you. And Mr. Mayor, I do move to approve resolution B 2329.
Second.
A motion has been seconded, begin voting with Commissioner Martin.
Aye.
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 A motion carried, 4-0.
Thank you, sir.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, bids, contracts, and agreements. Consider approval of scope and fee of services for the Wilson Avenue project.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor and Commission, I have a couple of different guests for this one. In a minute, I'll ask up Randy Reinhardt and David Funk from Zephyr Products to talk a little bit about what's going on back there with them. I asked them to come tonight, and also Lisa Hack from LCDC's here. And then I'll bring up Earl Wilkinson, the Deputy Director for Public Works, to talk about this project. As you'll remember, as we talked about ARPA projects, Wilson Avenue came up. This has been something that the businesses back there have been asking the city for years to improve the roadway. There's a lot of trucks in and out of there, a lot of employees in and out of there. Day-to-day deliveries are affected by this, but also in inclement weather. It's an open-ditched, narrow section of street that really supports some unknown but really important industry here in the city of Leavenworth. And so we have put, right now, there's about $550,000 allocated from ARPA funds, which is, we think, about half of what we're gonna need. But the first step was to engage in a design engineering firm to give us the options and also design the project. So we wanted to bring, there's two options, and Earl's gonna get into those. One for, I believe, $98,000, one for $114,000, depending on the scope of what you want them to look at. So I thought I'd have Earl present those to the commission tonight, see which way you'd like us to go. But first, I am going to invite up Randy and David and Lisa, if you want to come on up and tell us a little bit about the need back there and the conditions and kind of why this is important, and maybe any information you have on future plans that you may have. So come on up.
Thank you for having us to give you an update on what's going on back there. For those that don't know, I'm with Zephyr Products. I'm the owner of Zephyr. David Funk is our COO. That company, we've been there since 1979 now. I'm not trying to show my age, but I was not there in 1979. I started in 93. David's been with us for 04. We currently employ over 130 people at Zephyr Products. We have a sister company, LPF Powder Coating Company, which we have 2 locations, one in Lansing inside the prison, as well as one in Kansas City, Missouri. We have about 40-some employees at that company. Our plan is, hopefully tomorrow, close on the building of the Henke buildings, which are right next in our industrial track. Our 2 buildings are about, about 60,000 square feet total. The building, what we call building 1 and 2. Building what will be 3 and 4 is another 70,000 square feet. So it's going to we'll be able to double our footprint. I'm sorry. And so our plan is that building 3 will expand our weld department into, move it out of our main building, and relocate our powder coating company in Kansas City, Missouri to the building 4. So I have everything there on that complex with the exception of what's in Lansing. This will allow us to continue to grow and employ more people. I think total we have opportunity to looking to grow 20% a year is what we like, is what our plan. So, as you know, with the steel industry, we have a lot of semis coming in every day. Product coming in, product going out. And we have our own delivery. We have a box truck, a flatbed, a truck with a long trailer. Wilson Avenue gets a little tedious, especially when it's icy, snow. It's difficult to maintain ditch and everything else. And that's the only entrance in our facility for all those, not only our buildings, but then also Etron is right next door. They have probably 100 employees. So we have over 200 cars coming in every day, and probably 20 trucks every day, semis coming in and out. From an emergency standpoint, that's our only way in and out. So if we have a truck has an issue right there, it blocks that whole thing from a safety standpoint. So we've been asking over the last several years that we'd really like that to be put on the list, and so we would be very appreciative if we can do something. I think will allow, make it much safer for everybody. So that's why we're here tonight.
It's also the backside of the
Come on up
VAs.
to the,
Sorry.
the microphone.
Microphone.
It's also the backside of the VA, so a lot of the traffic comes in for the service trucks and stuff like that is for the Veterans Hospital enters and stuff from that same street.
We appreciate everything that you do, Mr. Randy, and the individuals that you employ as well, too. It's very beneficial and helpful for our community. Question, have you ever experienced a wreck, or any employees ever experienced a wreck on this street?
I'm not aware of any that have done a wreck on the street, but there has been some blockage at one end.
Okay.
so I have to go out the other
I've been
direction.
stuck out there.
Well, we definitely want to make sure we're going to prevent that from happening. That's why we're just asking,
Our
yeah.
incline is, or coming out of it is on an incline, which I know that's not an option to take care of that, but
Yeah.
on icy roads, it is hard to get that. We do maintain our own parking lot, if you would, to make sure it's iced and stuff like that, but as soon as you clear basically out of the parking lot, hit that street, it's, not maintained by the city or anything like that, so it never gets iced or plowed or anything like that.
Oh, wow.
It basically melts off or
Okay.
gets packed down with all the truck traffic and just civilian traffic. You're basically just compacted snow till it melts away.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
To
thanks
answer
for
your
that.
question, I think over the year, we have widened our entrance a couple different times for that very reason, when you got semis coming in and out. So
Yeah.
we've had semis get stuck in the ditch there before, so, but we've kind of widened, trying to do as much as we can on that
Okay.
front.
I appreciate it.
I have a question. Would this street have to be wider than what our usual, because of the big trailers?
Right now, it
coming
doesn't
in?
meet our standards as it is, so
Right.
that's kind of part of what we're doing here is seeing how much, how much length can you get based on how wide you go. So that's kind of what some of the scope of the design is. Does it
Okay.
make sense to widen it one direction? What's that cost versus widening the entire 1,300 feet of it? So, yeah, we've been working on this for a while. We just didn't have a funding source, and with some ARPA funds, I think the next positive step would be to actually do the design work and get some better numbers to the
I
commission.
agree.
Any other questions from the commissioners?
Yeah, just to to get it clear in my head. If a semi pulls up, it can't turn around, can it?
It can only turn around in the bottom of our parking lot, yes. Correct,
Okay.
Session.
Okay, so it's not backing all the way down Wilson Street, or all the way up Wilson Street?
So it can
Well,
pull
that's
in,
good.
and they have to make a loop around, but then they have
Yeah.
to turn around the back of the parking lot to get back out.
Yeah, that's,
Not practical.
Yeah.
that is not sufficient.
So if you don't have any other questions for Zephyr, I'm going to turn over to Earl to talk sort of about
Okay.
the two options that we wanted to put before you
Commissioners,
tonight.
you're welcome to come tour anytime you want. If you come out there, I'd be happy to give you a tour. of
I
what
took
we
a
got.
tour. It's really
Good.
great. You should do
Good.
it. You should do
We've done
it.
a few tours before, but you're welcome anytime. Just reach out.
Good.
And I'll take care of it.
I will try to do just that.
Yeah, appreciate you. Thank you.
I've
you.
got the time.
Thank you.
So just real quick, on the design, we've made an assumption on the width, but when we go through the actual design, part of the software that we use will look at turn radiuses for semis and proximity to their parking or their driveways and that. So all that will be analyzed. And obviously, the other thing is the thickness of the pavement
Yeah.
because of the weight loads, so we make sure that it's durable. will improve the stormwater features out there. I don't think there's substantial issues, but we want to make sure that gets improved, and we will put a sidewalk on one side of the street. So what we did was we looked at a couple options. One was just that I have up right now. It's basically from the intersection of Limit on Wilson past the driveway of the company, so about 1,300 feet. We have a contract or a fee and scope that is fully designing all of this with survey that is the $98,000 that the city manager was talking about. The other option that we looked at was in the red. That is the rest of Wilson and the two connecting streets, Ash and St. Mary's, that are what we would call unimproved, if you will, not up to our current standards, without curbs, with not necessarily with the best drainage system. So the additional or the other alternative, the additional money was for doing all that survey work. So we had that information available. We do realize that some things could change in that area, but the survey work for what we would do if we did any road improvements or any stormwater improvements would be very valuable information from us. And it is a little bit cheaper to get that information while there's a survey crew out there working for the consultant at the time. So those are really the two alternatives. And that just combines what the whole project would look like from purely a survey standpoint, and then the blue would be that fully constructed.
Well, definitely think it's wise to make sure that we're preventing any future problems. I think it's important that we go ahead and do it and not halfway do it, the remaining part of the street.
Well, I do too. Having the surveyors there already,
Yeah.
we might just well complete it, because it would be more expensive to have them come back to do it later.
And so we would plan to fund this portion with the allocation
Yeah.
and the ARPA funds that we have set aside for Wilson. And then if the numbers come back and it's before the commission, at that point, staff will have put together a funding plan to accomplish any level of street repair that the commissions would so choose.
Okay,
Cool deal.
Comments?
No questions?
nope, all right. There's no other questions or comments. Thank you, sir. I'll entertain a motion. Yes, sir.
Would we have any input after the survey is complete as to
Yes, we will definitely, the consultant company and representatives from Public Works will definitely want to work with you and will be in contact with you. And there could be minor right-of-way that we would have to either acquire or use temporarily for construction. So
and on that? Go ahead.
pretty much any property owner that's adjacent we'll be talking to.
Okay, because the corner of Ash Street right there on Wilson, there's a lot of built-up supplies is the best way I can say it.
Well aware of that, yes.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.
And quite frankly, that's where a lot of the truck traffic's coming through right now.
Yep.
Traffic's going faster.
Appreciate you. I'll entertain a motion.
I move approval of the selected scope and fee choice with Wilson and Company for the Wilson Avenue Street project, and that the mayor be authorized to execute a contract in the amount not to exceed $114,000.
Second.
Motion has been seconded. Begin voting with Commissioner Hingela.
Aye.
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 Motion carried 4-0. Thank you. Next item on the agenda, Leavenworth Land Bank. Conveyance of property to Leavenworth Land Bank, 312 Delaware Street. Entertain a motion to convene as the Leavenworth Land Bank Board of Trustees to accept the property.
So moved.
Second.
Begin voting with Commissioner Hingela.
Aye.
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 All right, motion carried 4-0.
Mr. Mayor and Commission, I'll turn this over in just a second to Julie Hurley, Director of Planning and Community Development. But to give a little background, this is the property formerly used as the Youth Achievement Center. This is the portion of the building that is on the east side. Anybody who was around when the Youth Achievement Center was fully operational, there was an administrative side on the west. That has since been sold. And this piece of property was part of an agreement between the city and the Youth Achievement Board some 25 years ago, where the city provided some funding for that. The Youth Achievement Center has ceased to operate, and through contact with my office and the city clerk's office, they've signed over a deed to give that property to the Leavenworth Land Bank. And so tonight, the first action is Julie will explain what we need to do, and then we'll talk briefly sort of about next steps. So I'm going to turn it over to Julie.
Okay, thanks, Paul, pretty much covered it. The Youth Achievement Center is conveying the property address, this 310 to 312 Delaware, over to the city based on previous agreements with that organization. It's been previously determined that the land bank is really the best place to place properties that the city is taking ownership of for tax purposes that we're not using for, city resources. The intent would be then to kind of figure out what to do with it, similar to what happened with 600 Cherokee where Wilcott Brewing is now. So we just need a motion to accept conveyance of the property located at 310 to 312 Delaware Street to the Leavenworth Land Bank.
Question. What's the address of the administrative side?
314.
314.
Okay, so 310 and 312 are both just that one.
Yeah, if you look at it, it used to be two, and so.
Yeah.
There's some
Okay.
covering cladding.
Yeah, and the deed that has been prepared includes the full legal description. This, we didn't include
Yeah.
that in here. This is
Sure.
just kind of the common address for it.
I move that we,
Hold on.
are there other questions?
I'm good.
Okay.
No.
Right now.
No.
I move that we accept the conveyance of the property located at 310 to 312 Delaware Street to the Leavenworth Land Bank.
Second.
Motion has been seconded. Begin voting with Commissioner Martin.
Aye.
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 Motion carried, 4-0.
So a little bit about next steps on that. What we'll do now that we've accepted it, it is now part of the land bank property. Staff will go in and assess the building. We know that there's some structural issues with some walls and flooring. Once we do that, we'll get a report back to the commission, sort of a status of the building. And then we'll come back to the commission and have a discussion about what do we do with it? List it, do an RFQ process or something going forward. So after we get done with the assessment, we'll bring it back to the commission and move forward from there. Any questions on next steps in the process?
Timeframe?
We'll get in there probably in the next week. And we may have to see if there's an engineering requirement. We know that there's some separation between the floor and the wall. So as soon as possible.
Okay, all right. Yep, thanks. Motion to reconvene as the Leavenworth City Commission. Thank you, Ms. Julie.
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been seconded. Commissioner England?
Aye.
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 Motion carried, 4-0. Last item on the agenda, consent agenda.
Oh, okay, I can do that.
Thank you, ma'am.
I move to approve claims for February 25, 2023 through March 10, 2023 in the amount of $2,683,805.75. Net amount for payroll number 5, effective March 10, 2023, in the amount of $359,872.01. No police and fire pension.
Second.
Motion has been seconded. Begin voting with Commissioner Martin.
Aye.
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 Motion carried, 4-0. That concludes our city commission meeting. At this time, we will go around the table to see if anyone have any updates or comments. Start with Paul.
Just a reminder that next Tuesday night for the study session, we'll have presentations from two firms, two design build firms for the RFQs for the Fire Station 3 and the wastewater admin building. So that'll be in here 6 o'clock, and that'll be the two items. Those two firms will present other proposals to the commission. So looking forward to that, moving that project forward. And that's all I have tonight.
Yep, thank you, Paul. Commissioner England?
Although I'm not wearing any green, you wouldn't know that I was Irish. But, and the name certainly wouldn't lead you to believe that. But my mother's maiden name was Coonahan. So I am a bit Irish, and I hope everybody will come out to see all the people that are going to be marching down the street for St. Patrick's Day. St. Patty's Day is an important one for us. All here in Leavenworth, we always have a parade for it, and we hope that you'll all come out and see it. Thank you.
Good job. Way to advertise and promote it. You gotta get them a commercial. Commissioner Martin?
I just wish everybody have a good week.
Well, I'm showing my Irish,
I was gonna say, you got your
and I'm
sign.
part Irish too. So anyway, yes, we hope everybody comes out. The parade starts at noon. Come to line up up by the courthouse at 11, between 11 and 12, and at noon it will start promptly at noon. So hope the weather is good, but we'll be there rain or shine, so.
Yep, thank you. God bless and be safe in this community, and look forward to seeing everyone at the Leavenworth Parade. Thank you. At this time, motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? None? Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Oh, my gosh.